Good evening, everybody from the UK. I'm Gloria, and this is the new podcast, Open Minds podcast, Non Duality. This evening, I've been practicing this name, so I will get this correct. It's like taking an exam. I have a most wonderful guest that I recently encountered on YouTube, some other interviews, and then I had to follow him on TikTok. I know anyone that knows me. I said I swore I'd never go near TikTok. I don't watch anything on it, but I just had to. And this evening I have a wonderful guest, and his name is. Are we ready for this? Tri Dao. Tri Dao.
Yes.
I have it.
Yes.
Mine's a lot easier. It's just Gloria, okay? It's just Gloria. It's just simple. Welcome to the show. By the way, audience, he has a habit of
Super
doing
excited.
media at the same time. So be patient with you.
Thank you for having me, Gloria. Thank you for having me on the show. And I'm excited to proceed and let everyone know about, what I'm doing
Yep.
and how I teach and how people can use this teaching to achieve peace.
Lovely. This is why you're on the show. But first of all, my sweetie, um, the background to how you became a monk and the work that you do, as I said, you serve humanity in a way that I don't see many. You are a conscious human being, and you serve humanity with compassion and empathy and non-judgment, and you see them as a mirror of you, and that is non-duality, but manifesting in this reality. And this is why it's really important. But however, before we talk about the work that you do, and about the order of Buddhism that you're in, could you share with myself and the audience what propelled you to become a monk? What pushed you from the beginning? Was it suffering, like most of us?
Yeah. So I became a monk shortly after my grandmother passed away, followed by my best friend, Jacob Hall, in 2015. And I hit rock bottom. I was on a suicide mission, actually. Everything I did was designed to, you know, um, I just wanted to disappear.
Yeah.
So had I not chosen this path to peace, I would have probably been dead or in prison
Yeah.
with some of the choices that I was making. And it was amazing to test out the teachings of the Buddha along the way. And I have, in fact, tasted that peace. And it was exactly that experience of peace that kept me within the monastic order and now going on 7 years.
Wow. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I mean, there are many cases within, I don't use the word spirituality anymore, because we need, for myself, I define it from non-duality, spirituality. Spirituality contains multiple areas, but non-duality is direct path, the peace, be still, it's there. So that's why I call it non-duality. That peace that comes, um, many people say, what happens, and I mean, I had my show last night with Chris, the scientist, and we tried ways to express what that does. But one thing we could express, because it's like a juxtaposition from the human being identity that was the sufferer to the consciousness that you've always been but become aware of, is this: everything, all stress, all suffering, all conflict just goes shh. Did you find that when you found that peace yourself?
Yeah, it was using the direct methods that the
Yeah,
Buddha left us to calm down the mind, to
yeah,
trace the links of influence as to how I got here.
yeah,
Back in 2015, it was like, how could I never sit still? Why did I always have to leave the house? Why was I unhappy? All of
yeah.
these reflective questions, and I used the methods to really trace the root cause of the issue, of the
Hmm.
problem. And once you follow the methods by the assistance of a good, qualifying, authentic teacher, then you will get a glimpse of that peace.
Yes.
Depends on how long you've been training and how long you've been practicing, and it will determine how long that peace lasts once you have tasted it. And once you have tasted that peace, you realize, wow, I
Yeah.
I have tasted liberation. I have tasted something that I've been yearning for quite some times, rather than running away from the pain, knowing how to deal with the pain and see that uh, a lot of good things arises when we face certain things head on.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, obviously, from my journey, it was the direct path. Maybe different questions I asked, but it was, I identify who are the thoughts. Am I? Then it was, I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my emotions. I'm not this, and then the realization as I made the space, it was. Thoughts were just memories being regurgitated again and again, and that they and I had become the identity, Gloria, before had become a slave to the thoughts and believed. So I'm aware of some of Buddhism and some of the past, but I know it's an absolutely powerful path. However, I mean, I've got to ask you, when I hear the stories of Buddhism in the past, and I did look into Zen Buddhists years ago, I found that very peaceful. Um, it seemed in the past, but even in India as well, it was the same thing back in the day, that it took them ages to come to the peace, to come to the direct path. And this is why I'm leading somewhere. The segue with this is, and as I said before the show, what I've heard about the teachers after Buddha, from Buddha, he would be silent a lot, and it was powerful teaching. It was powerful teaching for the time. But now, what you do is you're not silent. You are out there. You are talking. And you yourself come in within several years yourself. How quick is that? So for me, I'm just generalizing, looking at consciousness itself. I think it is the evolution of consciousness. Way back then, it had to be the slow process coming through, and that's how it worked in the cultures and identities. I mean, remember, it wasn't really here much, was it, back in the day in the Western world? But now, you have young people in front of you. You're giving them the direct path. You come in a few years, you just know what's going to happen. Can you see the shift in the realization where I'm going with this?
Yeah, when I traced, yeah, I think this is a calling.
Yeah,
Never in my life that I thought I was going to be a monk. Never in my life that I thought I was going to be a teacher. Matter of fact, anything but a teacher,
yeah,
because the whole side of the paternal family are professors, and
yeah,
so the way how they spoke about back in the day, how my dad was a teacher and his father was a teacher and everyone
yeah.
else was a teacher, they didn't make a lot of money. So I realized, yeah, I don't want to be a teacher.
No,
When I trace back the all the way till birth, um, I realized that my birth was not a normal birth. It was a C-section, and my
yeah,
mom said that, you just kind of just got up and just started walking. You didn't crawl. And I was like, oh, okay. I never thought about any type of significance behind the
mm,
birth. And in her dreams before giving birth,
mm,
um, there was I don't know, maybe what we call in the Buddhist world a deva, or a celestial being
yeah.
that told my mom, listen, do not change the name of this child. And then
Ah,
poof, they disappeared. So I would credit the blessing of intelligence
yes.
from the higher ups, the universe, the celestial beings, the devas, because I excelled very fast on this journey. It's a rare thing to see
Yes.
such an acceleration. As a matter of fact, I would say I got this thing down quite fairly quickly, comparable to other young monks that's still in the universities and studying
Mm.
Buddhist studies and so on.
Yes.
But but at the same time, I've also been meditating for the past 20 years.
Yes. Yeah.
And my whole life has always been asking about what is the meaning of life and what is the purpose of life.
Mm.
Growing ever since I was, I think, 15 years old, 14 years old, I started questioning, what is this world? Like, how do we
Yeah.
all fit in? What does it mean
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
interact with one another and so on? So I've kept a lot of notes. I still have them. The
Wow.
notes, the handwritten notes is from this floor all the way to this ceiling is how much notes I've taken. Direct and indirect.
Wow. I mean, I questioned everything when I was younger. I never wrote it down. I'm older than you by many hundreds of years. A good job I didn't, because it would be the whole block would have my memories. And I never fitted in. I was a rebel and I never fitted in. I couldn't accept I was having experiences. I mean, hindsight tells you later on what they were, but at the time, I couldn't fit into reality. I just couldn't fit into the education system. I could not fit into anything. I could not be told what to do. I couldn't follow, the materialistic format. I just could, it just, and so obviously it was a lot of trauma and suffering, because knew I was different. I've met many people on the non-dualist path that at the beginning, some think when they were younger, there was some sort of, what is this place? And then I just spent the last, the last part of the decade is, I'm dead. I know I'm really dead. And it's just been a really mystical, I want to use the word mystical experience. And it's amazing. For yourself, I mean, I have done some studies on Buddhism, but you came in very quick. So I agree. I think you were popped early. You were meant to come at this time. And I think there's many now that are here now for this time. And I think this is reflecting now to the work that you're doing. I mean, come on, what do your, I don't know what you call your seniors. Are they like your bosses, or what do you call your teachers, masters? What do they think about you on TikTok and all the things you're doing, which is fantastic?
So after 5 years of apprenticeship, a monk can go off on his own.
Mm.
However, I have asked my teachers to continue to watch over me and
Yeah.
supervise.
Mm.
So ever since I started doing the TikTok thing and accumulated 1 million followers, I've always kept my teacher
Mm.
there, and he tries his hardest to follow as much as he can, because as a young monk, like you said,
Mm.
monks practice the noble silence like the Buddha. And
Mm.
historically, the Buddha was the first of his kind
Yes.
to create his own philosophy and religion. So therefore, he had to model behaviors so
Yeah.
the monks can see that, oh, well, he's keeping noble silence on this certain subject and matter.
Yeah.
And so now that you have me, a Theravada monk, who are using technology to inspire other people, I'm going to
Yes.
be subject to praise and blame. And
Yes.
part of me covering my own butt is to have my existing teacher from the beginning just kind of watch, just because I
Yes.
don't want
Yeah.
to be blamed for anything. And should I
No.
ever be blamed for anything, I can be like, did you know that this whole time my teacher is watching?
Yes. That must, the fact is, I think it's a safeguarding. And I think it's a comfort to you because of the respect that you have for your teacher. You are a young one. And this is what I'm saying. And I find it beautiful. And as I said, and now we are going to approach what you do. I've seen some of your videos, your TikToks, and you just give out these messages. They just hit the heart, and the work you do. So for the audience, what do you do in the community? Where are you based in America?
St. Petersburg, Florida.
You're in Florida. So what is it that you do in your role? And all these videos, and you had your students were meditating. I saw the other one; they were meditating. What actually do you do?
Yeah. So I just wanted to go back to the last question before addressing
Okay.
this question, because um, as one of the first new generation monks that is coming towards the social media world, I am also the first monk who have cited the rules for monks every time when I'm engaged in certain projects.
Yeah.
So, like I would cite the fact that we cannot ask for anything except water, especially in this tradition. We cannot ask for money. We cannot ask for a car ride. We can only ask for a cup of water.
Yeah.
And every time when I'm doing fundraising, the people have to be moved by a compelling, after findings of facts and conclusion of what it is that they have seen, and if they're
Yeah.
moved by it, then they would make such donations. But yeah, and you know what, other monks don't really, they don't do that. But to ensure the purity and integrity of
Yes.
the,
Yes.
the teachings of the Buddha, I do a lot of things that other monks don't do, and in order to bring back trust and faith in the people,
Yeah.
about how we do things and how we conduct things. So
Yes.
um moving forward to your question about what do I do here in the community. Previously, I was doing one-on-one sessions ever since, so I was experimenting with TikTok, and then it blew up, and then I became this celebrity Buddhist monk, and I realized, oh my goodness, they need my help. And some of these messages and comments were, how do we get in contact with you? So I
Oh,
said, well, anyone can contact me. Here's my phone number. Here's Instagram. You can send a message. And right now there's 1.3 million on TikTok, 41,000 on Instagram,
mm,
and the list just goes on. But I've always gotten back with people within 48 hours.
that's
Within
beautiful.
24 to 48 hours, I've always gotten back with people. And when you look at the historical timeline on my YouTube and Facebook, you see a lot of one-on-one counseling session, which is me
Yeah.
utilizing my 4 years of um, education and training at
Hmm.
Eckerd College in counseling psychology, and merging Eastern philosophy together to help each
Yes.
individual.
Yes.
Um,
That I find powerful, and that's what I picked up. And there was one of your videos you put up, and it was so inviting. And I'm going to paraphrase it because obviously I can't recall it all, but basically you said, if you want to go drinking, if you want to do drugs, if you want to do sex, if you want to do whatever, um, if you're ready for peace and you need some support, I'm here. And it was that openness of non-judgment. Do what you need to do, but if it comes to a point when it gets too much, or basically in my interpretation was, when the suffering, because suffering will come, when the suffering kicks in, turn to me. And I suspect, I'm not assuming, please correct me if I'm wrong, because you were pushed to the suicide, that you are opening your heart. You don't need to go where I nearly went. I'm here. Am I correct in that?
that is correct. And the Buddha, he was very chill. He was very relaxed. The Buddha says, I teach the way to happiness,
Yeah.
and it's up to you. The Buddhas can only point the way. It is up to you to
Yeah.
choose which path that you deemed, is appropriate for you,
Beautiful.
and to try it out, to invite people to try it out.
Mhm.
Obviously, as a teacher myself, the more we tell them not to do something, they're going to do it even more.
Oh, hell yeah. That's normal. I've had 6 children. Trust me, I'm an expert. So
So
I use reverse psychology on my kids, and then they got wise to that, so they beat me. Yeah.
and so I know I've this is I mean, I guess this is me. This is how I always been teaching. And like you
Mm.
said, naturally inviting, just because I want people to just think, and in order to lead them to how to think, and the active thinking alone, you have to tell them, hey, you want to smoke, go ahead and smoke. You want to have
Yeah.
sex? Go ahead and have sex. You want to
Yeah.
drink? Go have a drink. When it gets
Yeah.
to the point where you realize it's affecting your work and life balance, hey, I'm here for you. I'm here for you either way.
That's the beautiful message, Tree. Honest, I think and I see other teachers in non-duality, no matter which path they take, what you do, and what I also feel from it is sometimes people don't know there is another way, or there is a possible way, or they've been told you're useless, you drink, you drugs, you do sex, you don't even bother trying, but you're out there saying, I don't give a shit. There is a possibility for change. And that, how many when I used to work with the young children, I tried to inspire them from crime. And sometimes it works, each path. But just you offer them the possibility that there is a middle path. But you know what? You want to go and have fun? It will turn to suffering, but go and do it. I'm here. I will be here. And that, I think that is the beauty of the work that I see you do. How many sort of like you accumulate in followers, whether millions, 2 million. I mean, that to me, it is irrelevant. It's what you're giving the message out. However, all of those followers on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok actually identifies this evidential data of how this is needed, of what you're doing. Does that resonate with you?
Absolutely. It's social experiment. And
Yes.
I
Yeah.
actually gather statistics from certain videos and how it relates to them and where
Yeah.
they're at in life. So I gather a lot of data. I mean, all of this is an experiment. My whole life is an
Oh,
experiment.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it is very insightful for me, and that's why I'm writing this book right now, actually, and it's due at the end of November. It's called Buddhism Now, and I'm gathering all of the immediate teachings of the Buddha to inspire young people. And there's more to come. There's going to be a lot more books to come. I realize that I really enjoy sitting and writing. So,
Yeah.
like you asked earlier, what do I really do? So I started out with counseling one-on-one, and then I started teaching meditation around town and all over Florida. And then they asked me to write a book at this age, and I realized, oh, okay, well, I mean, um, sure, I'm not gonna pass up on that opportunity.
No.
So now that's that. And then what is fourth to come is I'm gonna be traveling around the U.S. probably in January,
Yeah.
and after that I'm going to be furthering my training and practice by traveling overseas to other monasteries.
That would be beautiful. I mean, to me, it would be a wonderful thing if you did put it into a book, because, I mean, one thing, with social media, it makes us accessible to people that cannot access this in person, or, different countries, but also some people learn their mode of my mode. I mean, even though I was at university, my mode of learning is visual. I'm a visual learner, always have been. But some is books. I mean, when I was at university, I hated books. I'd scan read them. I hate reading. I'm a visual or audio learner. But some are visual, as in reading. They learn. So they'll be able to access your book anywhere in the world. So if they can't get to see you, or maybe they don't, they haven't got good internet, or any other reason of the above, at least you're accessible in all formats.
Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant idea. And I think more so because I'm slightly biased with past career, that also it's going to be good for the oldies like me. But it's dealing with younger people, the youth. And I think that is paramount for the next conscious human being on the planet, because we can see today what, not your generation, the last generation, not mine either, by the way, the last generation and before, what's happened to the planet, what's happened to humanity, the destruction, with materialism, the disconnection to nature. And I think this sort of work with the next generation coming up is going to be vital for humanity's survival on the planet.
That's a very good thing to bring up, because the existence of other religion is a good thing, but it doesn't. Some of them does not teach the people the how. It is exactly the how that is costing us the planet.
Yeah.
How do we let go? How do we resolve anger? How do we resolve greed, desire? And it is exactly that greed and desire for resources, greed and desire for money, that's causing all these planetary issues, global climate issues. And so right now, social media is a double-edged sword, because I am trying my best to inspire people to try out this path, but there's also the secular world out there that is trying to destroy us.
Yes.
And I've seen some of the things that they've said about Buddhism, and I'm just like, and people really buy into it, just because people don't know, and they think, and these guys out there sounds real confident, is slamming all sorts of different faiths. They slam Christianity, they slam Islam, they slam people who are Muslims. I mean, so people don't know how to gravitate towards a good working philosophy to live a noble life and not harm the planet in any way, shape, or form. In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So all I can
do, go on. No, go on.
So all I can do is my best, to trying to slow down what has already been done, and to bring people towards the teachings of Buddhism, so that they realize that a wise person does not harm his or her environment, said the Buddha.
Yes. I mean, no, and this is what I see. I mean, to me, maybe because I'm slightly older in the human form than you, but you're just like, I'm blown away that you're a young monk and you're doing what you're doing, but you're sowing the seeds, and that's what's needed. There are many people that talk about ecosystems and this and that, but they're words with no action or no heart. I mean, and the whole, this is what I'm saying about non-duality. It doesn't matter what path you get there to find the peace. Mine was Eckhart Tolle, Alan Watts, Sadhguru. I took it from all. Buddhism. I just, and I saw every one of them saying exactly the same thing. And I just, that's how others go different paths. They come from different religions. They come from non-religion, but all saying the same thing. I've heard of I'm aware of the ones that, try their utmost. I mean, it's just their ego, their identity, to slam Buddhism, slam this. I mean, I've heard them say that Buddhism is nihilism. I've heard them say that non-duality, which is the direct path, is nihilism. And that, as I don't know where this is, I think it's their fear. Their ego is so threatened. Their concepts, their ideas, they haven't got that space, their judgment. And it's that type of identity that is destroying Mother Earth, destroying humanity. In the 20th century, look how many human beings were massacred by other human beings in the name of either their religion, their politics, their ideologies. And it was you can't even comprehend it. And the beauty of it now, like the works of you're doing and other non-dualists, no matter which path, you can see it's now not only on shows, non-duality is being spoken to, it's affecting billions on the planet, but in the communities it's starting to come out as well. And that's the beauty of it. So these ones over there, I call them negative Nellies. The big arse egos, I won't swear because you're a monk. I don't give a flying fudge, because you can't stop this, what's happening now. What you've done is just profound. And I hope anyone out there Go out and when the book comes out, you must buy his book, but go out there and make a difference, because it is urgently needed, or we'll destroy the planet. We'll destroy the human being if we don't make the change now. Um, I'm expecting. I've got to ask you. I can just see you running a center somewhere. Have you thought of that?
That's always been the goal in the very beginning. Let me tell you
Wow.
something. In the very beginning, when my very first podcast, I actually cried. Today, I just have the sniffles. I don't know
No, I
why.
know it's fine. You can sniffle away. I'll be your mum. I want to wipe your nose. You know, I want to wipe.
The weather is changing here in Florida. It's getting colder, so I'm getting the sniffles. I
Oh,
cried the first podcast I ever did with Mr. Francisco, and my goal was in the beginning was to reduce teen suicide and increase student resiliency.
yeah,
And when certain questions were being asked about the teen suicide situation, I broke down, and you just seeing tears come down on my face.
yeah,
And I begged and I pleaded to the whole world on my first podcast. I said, we need to put a center together, and we can do that here, you
yeah.
know. And I have tried fundraising, but maybe it was, I don't know, before COVID, after COVID, during COVID times, and I don't think I just don't know um, why that could not come to fruition. As a matter of fact, I've been a monk for 7 years, and the accumulated donation has been less than $2,000.
Mm,
So
mm.
I'm obviously not a very good fundraiser.
I, you know, sometimes, I mean, at the right, it's just me, the right time, the right place, the universe, Buddha, source, whatever the name, that can't be named. The universe will shift and move things into place. And I'm looking now. You've said that. I didn't know you wanted a center. It would just come out my heart that you need to do a center. So I've said it now, guys. He's going to get his center anyway. But the fact is, some people start up community projects, and they open up. They get the investment, and some turn up at the beginning, then they trail off. Tree, if I said your name correctly, you've got millions following you already. You've got the foundation. And, this maybe was needed because at some point, as it builds up, and we do know that, I don't know what it's like in America. I live in the UK, but in the communities, it's getting harder for young people, especially for suicide. We have high rates here, mental health. That you will then say, look, hey, I've got these millions of followers. This is the statistics. This is this, and it will happen at the right time and the right place. It will. I think it definitely will, because you've got that engagement there already. So you've got everything already. So I don't think it's that you're a bad fundraiser. I think it's the universe, or going the right time, the right place. You're going the other way. You're getting the people together first, everything together first, and then it will start. It definitely will start. How could it not with what you're doing?
I know that time will come, and I'm cultivating myself to lead the monastic order and lead a humongous meditation center when that time comes.
Yes.
I just wanted our audience to realize what is actively happening here. Is
Yeah.
just days ago I had a student, because I used to be an interpreter for the courthouse for 15 years,
Yeah.
serving all areas of law and all areas of medicine. So they know I know about laws and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this one student is in a jam. This student is 18 years old, fell in love with this gal. Somewhere down the line, someone accused someone of cheating, and then all of a sudden this girl is bringing people to his workplace, threatening him. And he asked me, he says, Venerable, I'm 18. Can I have a handgun? Can I have a
Oh.
handgun?
Oh.
And so that gave rise an insight that he wants a handgun to protect himself, based on whatever mess that these kids have gotten themselves into. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, you're a kid. You're 18. You're supposed to be
Yeah.
enjoying life and not get involved this is going to lead to a shooting like we've seen here in America. I can't even tell you how many shootings we have on a daily basis here in America, because all you have to do is go to YouTube and put police shootings in search, and you will see it. You will see it all come out. All you got to do is put OIS, critical incident, and you will see it come out. And I'm trying to hold an ordination program, a part-time novice monk ordination program. We don't even have enough robes for young students here. They all have to use my old retired robes.
Oh, bless you.
That has lost so much fabric that when you dry it and you try to straighten it, you couldn't even straighten it because it's all mangled, just the way how fabric. So, that's what I'm struggling with here locally, is fundings for even the smallest programs that's happening. And I'm also being suffocated by our rules, our 227 rules, meaning I cannot directly call someone and say, hey, I need money to buy more robes. I cannot do that because out of my own choice to protect the integrity and purity of the the monastic order. So again, that's why I have to remain noble silence and realize that karma's going to have to figure this out, and I can only do the best that I can without pushing to the extreme length within my scope and practice, and trying to just keep whoever is within the group, keep them at peace as much as I possibly can, keeping the small flock at peace as much as I can.
And that's not an easy job. I mean, part of my career, I worked with victims of serious crime, the most horrific. And, being, playing the role of the human being, and going into the juxtaposition in my job role, it was heartbreaking for me to see, especially, when it didn't fare well for some at the end, and the trauma. And it's the darkest side of humanity's experiences. This is where this peace, this non-duality is needed. Because, when you work on, as you do now, but as I did in my career on the front line, it rips your heart out, so to speak, at the time. I understand it a lot better now, but what you're doing is so vital, and you'll keep doing it no matter what. I was going to ask you there must be someone that's not in your order. You can't ask for new robes, but there must be someone that can ask. Is it allowed? Can they ask on your behalf?
It's not about me. I can run around naked all day, every day. It's about, for the students, everything that the prerequisite, the prerequisites that we need, food, water, shelter, clothing, is for the students. Everything I do is for other people.
I'm aware of that.
My teacher has donated a few already, but it was just to emphasize that, and what's funny is I'm looking at research. My teachings have reached more than 100 million people worldwide. There's no if, buts, doubts about that. And last year, the reports was what United States had additional. They accumulated another 200,000 new millionaires, people who became millionaires, additional 200,000 or something like that. And worldwide, there were more millionaires that emerged worldwide. And I'm sitting there scratching my head, and I said, out of all these people that became millionaires, no one heard my teachings and heard me sounding the alarm that we have kids dying and kids are shooting each other, and we need programs. No one. And let me tell you something, Gloria. Those who want to give will always find a way to give. They will hunt me down. They will profile me. They will call me. My phone number is public. They will call me and they will say, "What are you doing? How are you doing this? And are we able to see what you're doing?" And I am an open book. I've already said it over and over again. that anyone, so and it also doesn't help that there's people out there, because I'm a celebrity monk, that they're like, oh, you're trying to scam people. And so I came back with this and I said, look, anyone out there can do a warrantless search. You can come to wherever I am and search where I'm at and see if I have a Rolls Royce sitting outside, and we'll go through my phone, go through my bank, if IRS, federal agents, go have at it, dig in my life. I don't care. So I've studied how nonprofit organizations work and how uniform they are and how they have to be when they get audited. So I've decided to run my life the same way. Oh, an open book. If you want to come and examine, come for yourself.
But I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm going to say it again. I'm not surprised people are questioning it, because this is unusual in our times for people to give themselves selflessly to the community. And going back to, so I'm not surprised. I said, well, this can't be true. This is left brain. This is identity ego. Yeah, this can't be true. No one does that anymore. Yeah, maybe a couple of thousand years ago we supported each other, but no, it's got to be. And their identity will say, no, it's got to be a scam. It's a ripoff, because it's just not the. I mean, how many generations have passed, and we can see materialism. Right. The divide between the exceptionally rich, to the exceptionally poor, the devastation of the land, of the food produce, of all nature's resources. That is for every human being on earth. So I'm not surprised they're shocked. One. However, for me, it's the likes of yourself, it yourself. It's not that you don't have a choice. It's your calling. You're going to do it no matter what the mother fudgers say, do, or whatever. I mean, I can't swear you a monk, so I'm trying to behave. Fudgers is okay. Can I say mother fudgers?
You can use any language you like to relate to the people. That's the Buddha's permission for all of us.
Motherfuckers out there, I have to say. Because how can I mean, in the UK, one thing we do have here, we have food banks, we have clothes banks, furniture banks, every bank you can think. Well, people will donate. Our big supermarkets, yours is like Walmart or whatever you have out there, I don't know. Nearly in all our big supermarkets, there's donation where you can buy shopping, it's put in there, and food is collected and delivered to people. So I have to say, in this country, we're doing a lot better than some other countries, and we don't have guns. However, we do have knives. We do, and that's the choice weapon at the moment. And it is young people. It is young people again. So for me, the work that you do, you're just laying the foundation. It will happen. It's got to happen. And one of those millionaires, or do you know, likely it's more likely going to be somebody that's got a decent wage, not rich,
right?
Is look at that, not got much, and say, you know what, that I'm going to do that, because the rich never give to anybody apart from themselves. They just accumulate. It will happen. It's definitely got to happen with the work that you're doing. And I still want to wipe your nose. I can't help it, because I keep saying, give him a tissue or something. No,
I'm okay.
So we've covered that part. I asked you before we went live. I've heard of different schools of Buddhism. I am very ignorant for the deep studies, and you've already explained there's so many ways you can go down the road. However, I'll start with my understanding of Buddhism and Buddha. I've got Buddhas in my house, I've got Buddhas in my garden, okay? And Buddha is peace. That's all, okay? And Zen Buddhism, I got closer to. I loved listening about Zen Buddhism back in the day. But I've always understood Zen Buddhism is just, if you wish to stop suffering, be silent. Like, in other words, be silent and listen. And I remember something I've never forgotten, and I'm more like going to kill it, but excuse me, I'll paraphrase it. There was a Zen master of some sort, and a student come to him, and he was sitting down, and the student said, show me enlightenment, show me samadhi, or whatever terminology it is, the peace. And the master was very quiet for a while because they didn't speak much. And he said, can you hear that stream on the mountain? And so the student ardently sat there. And it just, he couldn't get it. He couldn't. Then eventually he got a glimpse of the peace. And he went, oh, master, oh, master. He said, I got it, I got it. The master didn't reply. And then it wasn't long after that glimpse, the mind come back in. And he went, oh, master, I've got another question. What if I hadn't heard it? And the master turned and said, that would still be nirvana. That would still be, that would still be the peace. It was I love the paradoxical teaching of Buddhism, that you're quite correct. It doesn't tell you what to do. There's pointers that sometimes can sound very illogical. In your area, which is, and I can't say, is it Theravada tradition? Theravada? Yes? Oh my God, I got that right. Is it very similar to that, by pointings, or do you actually give teachings as in, like, I don't know, Eckhart Tolle, Rupert Spira, Sadhguru, and all the rest? So, long question, put it in a package and a bow on top, no pressure.
So we teach the how, and in orderly fashion. Theravada is the oldest, longest, still continuing school of Buddhism. We were the originals. We are the originals. It started out with us before they start to split schools due to misunderstandings of the teachings of the Buddha. Monks were like, no, I heard different. No, I heard different. And then they started split school. Yeah. But Theravada is the original, and we follow the Pali Canon. And the Pali Canon has been accepted to be the source of what the Buddha actually really said. And the methods that he left us is recorded in the Pali Canon. And so we give you all instructions as to how to get that glimpse of peace that you just described. And my nose.
I know, sweet.
The methods are found in the suttas. Like if we wanted to achieve peace by stilling the mind, we would read the Anapanasati Sutta, also known as mindfulness of the breath. And when you go to the Anapanasati Sutta, you will see the different types of methods and techniques, such as, breathing in, I know I'm breathing in, breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. The counting method: in breath 1, out breath 1, in breath 2, out breath 2. You can meditate on the Buddha, which is in breath but, out breath toll, in breath but, out breath toll. If we were to go to insight meditation to cultivate wisdom, we would use Sati Maha Satipatthana Sutta, and in that you look at the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the mind, mindfulness of feelings, and mindfulness of worldly phenomenon. So you read it. Our school is very psychological and very analytical. So it's in details. You will know exactly what to do when you read these suttas. And that's what I like about it. And that's why I chose it, because Theravada is no nonsense. We get straight to the point. We need to ask, what is the problem and how do we solve this problem now? So any students that come to me and tell me they're depressed, they're anxious, they have PTSD or whatever, I need to be able to choose a teaching and apply it now. Like it's a fast acting medicine. and they
Yeah.
should be able to see relief quite fairly quickly. So, in regards to other traditions, sometimes I scratch my head and I'm like, what are they doing again? And what's going on here? Because, it's prostrating, 150 times a day while you have active suffering. That needs to be re-examined again.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
No,
and
I agree. I agree. I want to jump back in. What you just explained there is very similar to, I think, really, I suppose I'm more, if I want to stick a label, I'm more with Rupert Spira, the Vedanta, more that way, but I don't have a label on it. It's direct. It's direct. It's, the breath, go in. The whole point is, the first thing to do is stop the thoughts. And I know the breath procedure starts to slow the mind down, puts the gap between the thoughts. It starts to open the door, and then it's wonderful that the other ones you do after to go direct, you assist, pointers to assist, and that's why I find it so refreshing that a young Buddhist like yourself, a monk like yourself, all the years, I mean, they spent decades in mountains and caves and kept quiet. And some, bless them, were doing all of these practices and they never experienced the peace. However, now you're opening that. I know how direct path works. And I've seen it when I've spoken to people. All you need to do is just to open that door. You just need to open it. Once that door's open, it just comes in. It happens by itself. So I think that, the work that you're doing with your tradition, I think, is wonderful. And I'm really glad you don't do thousands of hours of practicing, because I think consciousness is evolved now. It's evolved. We're coming to the point now in the 21st century of all social media, the technology, and work, pay your taxes, what you need to. No one's got time to go and spend all that time anymore doing. So the direct path, I think, is the only way now. And more importantly, not only is it that, it's also manifesting that tree is what you're doing outside in the community for young people and for the suffering. It's the suffering. We know what suffering, psychological suffering's like. We've both been there at some point in our lives. And we also know what the peace does. It just dissipates the suffering. So it's for the work that you do. I'm going to put it out there. Anyone that would like to, am I allowed to get people to support what you do?
Sure.
Is that all right?
Yes.
Anyone out there, because I know the shows are broadcast in USA as well. Anyone out there, if you can help, especially you're in, where are you, California, did you say, or Florida?
Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida. Yes.
And anyone in St. Petersburg, Florida, that is watching this, or someone that could possibly help Tree and the work that he's doing for the community, please get hold of them and get in contact with him. The links are everywhere on Facebook and obviously in the comments in Facebook. And see if you can get some things going, at least for the students to have the clothing that they need to wear, that they don't have to wear old, washed out, tatty clothes. I mean, if you're sitting at home and, you've got good clothes and good food and you're doing okay, you know what I mean? A little bit of gifting wouldn't go amiss. So I put it out there for anyone out there. It should be done. Now, I'm not going to keep you long. Go on.
Someone just actually sent $100 while you were talking. I just glanced over my phone.
That is wonderful. Come on. I want more donations in America. Okay. More.
It really broke my heart the other day, because due to lack of resources that I couldn't do more about certain active situations right here within my realm, scope, and practice about the students wanting to get a gun, because you got to have a skillful leader got to have a lot of programs to keep these kids out of trouble and something for them to look forward to, and the patience necessary to cultivate that peace in the midst of growing up, in the midst of growth and development in their life. And I said to my, after I was done talking to the student, I shut my door and I sat in silence and I said, I will be damned if a student of this particular school of intelligence is going to go out and commit mass murder or commit, manslaughter or theft or not keeping the precept in in the Buddha. I was so upset, Gloria. I'm not supposed to be moved by anything that is good or bad, but you got to understand that I deal with the masses of suffering, and there are days. There were times where I'm doing one-on-one sessions and I just pass out. I pass out on the phone while I'm talking to people because due to the exhaustion of trying to handle the amount of people. And thank goodness I have therapists that jumps in to help me. And there are certain cases I cannot handle on my own. There are clinical cases. And so, and so some of these fundings and resources some of them goes to the therapist that is lending a hand, because they too have bills to pay. They can't just volunteer forever.
I mean, it's possible. I'm telling you, it's possible. I always think if Sadhguru can do this in southern India, he must have like 200 million volunteers, and he started somewhere for his community. And
he's on his own projects, and I think I'm the first. I mean, I through all the research that I have done, I'm the first monk that have opened up such programs that do one-on-one, because I believe change lies per student. Each student, we change the world by and through each individual. It has to be done that way. Each individual require necessary individualized, tailored attention for their specific suffering.
Absolutely.
And it requires so much hours to try to understand from head to toe, having the patience necessary to formulate a picture of where they've been, where they're at, and where they're going, and following up with them. Just because I talk to a person one-on-one does not mean that's the end of that. It's literally like a counseling session where I have them check in with me on a weekly basis, and so I can measure their progress, and I give them recommendations and homework. We were at one point short of cognitive behavioral therapy books. The authors live in the UK, Wilson and Branch, on the CBT book for dummies, and we were the books are only like $6 used. And at one point I was so desperate. I was like, oh my God, we're out of books, and we've been out for like a whole month. I didn't know what to do. And someone found a link to the PDF free version of it, and that helped us, the program, out a lot. And so, it's just a lot of challenges along the way. But like you said, we all just have to be patient, and somewhere down the line, someone's gonna hear the cry.
Someone's going to hear it. I mean, the universe takes it. It's like the butterfly effect. Everything at the right time in the right place, and it's about, is it not? It's about each step. As long as each step is in that peaceful step, don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry about any. Just stay in that step, in the now, each now, and it will flower. It will bloom, and when it's supposed to, when it's most needed. And I liked what you said earlier on. I will say first, we have to, before you change the world, you have to find out who you truly are. That's first. Who are you? You're not your identity. You're not your thoughts, your beliefs, your religion, your ideas, your culture. Then you can go out into this reality as a conscious human being, not an identity-based human being, and approach another support them and help them find out who they are first. And it does take tailored. It's personal autonomy. They're all individualized. You can't tar everyone with the same brush, and that takes other volunteers for Tree in California out there, volunteers, commitments, fundraising, support. Do you have a name for your local monastery? What's it called?
We haven't developed one yet, just because
Oh,
we need a good working team together to establish the location and the blueprint of where it is. So
okay.
at this time, I'm only teaching at local monasteries around here. I travel all over the state, you
Okay.
know, in inspiring
Best
youth.
is just to contact you personally, is to contact you. Your volunteers will come, Trey. The support will come, and everything you need will come at the right time. And you just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I suggest, I mean, even though he's got more followers than me, do you know what I mean? I'm not having that. No, um, share, follow, share his videos out, and especially in the area in America where you are, see what you can do to help it's your community. Because you know what, guys, I always say to those that are really, they're so locked down in their identity, you never know when shit's going to hit the fan for you.
Mm.
Mental health. I mean, you've got these voices in your head anyway, thoughts that you're schizophrenic to start with, but mental health can hit anyone. You can go to bed at night, you can wake up the next day, it's gone, and you're exactly where all these people are on the street, and in the community. So, they're but for the grace of God go I, or should I say Buddha? But I'm just trying to find a way for people to open their hearts again, because they're closed. It's materialism. Me, 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 me. And I think what you're doing is wonderful. And I was going to say, I'm not going to hold you on tonight because you got cold.
Oh, I'm okay. You can drag this on as long as you like. I have the whole day with you. You have me the whole day.
I mean, it's like, I so badly want to give you a tissue. It's just ridiculous. It's
I have a tissue. I just choose not to use it. I just.
You're definitely you're just like my children now. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
right then they're gonna go like that. No. I mean, yeah, I know what you're doing. I know. Yeah, you're gonna get a red nose.
nah,
Yeah,
it's okay. I look like Rudolph. I look like Christmas is coming. I'll be the
oh, yeah, you
Rudolph.
look good. Yeah, you'll have a big red nose. You have a big red nose. I mean, it's like I can't saying it, and he's not giving me anything for it. I've seen his TikTok videos. I've seen his videos. I've seen what he's doing. Just please keep doing what you're doing. And and people say, well, even to me, are you a Buddhist? Are you? I said, I'm not anything. I'm just this. Some people do get fearful of labels. I get that. I get that. I don't have a label. I just say non-duality. But people need to get, I think, also this bias with Buddhism or any of the religions, anything, which I find ironic, because all of them all worship the same God, the same source. It's all one. And the division is so extensive now due to materialism, identity base, especially materialism. I think that if we don't, and I would like your opinion on, if we don't start to make the change now, I've heard Sadhguru, I've heard everyone say it, Eckhart Tolle say it, if we don't start this shift, and now we are really putting the human species in danger for the future, because we're destroying humans as well as the earth, the animals, everything. We've sort of materialized it to put money in our pockets. Does that resonate with you?
We already have. We look at the wildfires, we look at the
Mm.
tsunamis, we look at the earthquakes, we look at the hurricane, the intensity and magnitude of what we've done to the planet in regards to the carbon dioxide, the carbon footprints that we have already inflicted over the past decades have now caught up to us. We've already seen mass flooding, especially in Bangladesh. 1/3 of the country is flooded. We have seen the amount of violence skyrocketed almost 200%, specifically here in the United States. We have seen violence across the world. In Thailand recently, a former police officer killed 14 children in the poorest regions of Thailand, where there is 90% Buddhist, where 90% of the population is Buddhist. I looked at that, and as a matter of fact, I think the Buddha right now is shaking his head as he's sitting up there wherever he's at. So the wheel has already been turned. We're living in hell.
Yes, yeah, it is. I mean, you can have heaven on earth or hell on earth, whatever you choose, and it's the message is coming quite strong from the teachers from all schools of non-duality. It's coming strong. I mean, the shift that we call, it depends what terminology, the shift has happened. Consciousness is self-realizing itself. Oh, bless you. Consciousness is self-realizing itself. And it has been in the process since back to 2,500 years ago with the Buddha. And I think maybe there were others before. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's been self-realizing since the get-go. But however, so we know the shift has happened. However, it's for every human being to see another human being in a different way, to come out of the left brain identity, which is the materialism thought, and to go into the right brain consciousness. That's where the source, where this happens, and do something. Because sometimes I think people are unaware what is going on in the world, because they're so identified with their own me identity, ego. They've got tunnel vision, and they sit there and watch TV, they watch the news, and they reinforce ego, fear, ego, and they have no idea. And then sometimes I've met people and I say, "Do you know this?" They go, "What are you talking about?" And they've never been informed of what's going out in Thailand or in America, or I must say in the UK, the people of the UK are really good, even though we don't tend to watch our mainstream news. There's only one, but they know what's going on. They know what's going on in the community.
We can blame 99% our public school system for doing that, because they teach useless stuff. That I came from Eckerd College, a world-renowned college that helps kids think outside of the box, think about the world, think about anything but themselves, actually, to care about the environment, the ocean. I am so grateful and indebted to Eckerd College and all of the professors that reigned while I was attending it, is because it cultivated me to be who I am today, a part of the cultivation of this particular monk. And not only, it also cultivated the police chief here in St. Pete, went to Eckerd College, the fire chief here. So they cultivate leaders of the world. And schools needs to, that's why I need my own school, so that I teach what public schools don't teach, because we'll never be able to change that system. No matter where we're at, this the politics behind and the bureaucracy behind public schools.
It's global, but I don't know. With the UK people, I just think one day the kids are just going to walk out of school, because the children in the UK they're like born little Buddhas. I can use Buddha. I don't mind I'm not a Buddhist, but it doesn't bother me, labels. They're like born little Buddhas. And they're coming in going, no, don't work. No. I don't know what it's like in America, but in the UK, they're just saying, no, not conforming. No, I don't like the education system. No. And because they're just regurgitating even what I learned at school. It's memory. What is left brain teaching in academia It's memory from the last generation's memory, from the last memory, and regurgitating it. That's all you're doing. You're not even in the now. There's no thought of the now. What's actually, like me and you are talking now. So we can talk and I can say, oh, I want to wipe your nose. I'm in the now. So I'm using my thought, left brain, right brain, in the now to experience life. Talking to you. I'm talking. I'm experiencing. Kids are in school and remember, or you're not going to get it. Remember. And that's all they talk. And it's a programming goes in. So they miss life. They don't even realize they are life. They are life. They have no idea who they are apart from their identity in the brain. So I agree with you with education system. And I think it would just crumble by itself if all the kids don't walk out first. That's not, I'm not saying.
It is crumbling by itself because now they have shootings in schools here in the US a lot. There's metal detectors up. Especially in New York. So it's already crumbling in itself because they don't teach morality. They don't teach the cultivation of the heart, and they don't teach the wisdom necessary for kids to open their eyes and realize what Buddha wanted everyone to realize. So
yeah, I mean, I like the part of the cultivation of the heart. Most people and adults as well, they think from the brain, from the mind, from thought, because they believe that's what they are, a mere nothing human being that's born, lives, works and dies. But it's not the case. It has non-duality where the peace is. If we can get this out to the young people of the world, you're more than what you think you are. It's not a belief. It's not Buddhism. It's not non-duality. You know, it's not anything. It's the truth of each conscious human being. And they haven't, you're doing it in the best capacity you can by giving young people the middle way. Let's say the middle way. Do you realize you can have peace? No one's, you know, do you want peace? Oh, I'd love it. And no one's ever said that to them. No one's ever said you're suffering psychologically, you're suffering in your heart. All these, you know, the identity, these egos out there, left brainers, just judge them and punish them, but they don't say, do you know, there's a way out. There's a middle part you can, and this is what's needed. And I do hear all the other non-dualist teachers out there. They're talking this as well, and I think we're going to have turbulent times for a little while. Yeah. But it's only for a little while, because non-duality is literally now, it is global. It's out. It's global. It is global. It doesn't matter which school of thought you come from. I mean, before we close the show, and I know you really need to go and blow your nose and put some.
I know. You have me the whole day. I love this conversation. We're inspiring so many people, and we're educating so many people worldwide. So
it's but I want Vaseline now. Listen, I'm your mother. I want Vaseline on your nose. You know what I mean? Keep yourself nice and warm. Put your cardigan on. That's what we do.
Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom.
That's the way to go. That's the way to go. No, I would love to talk to you all day. However, I have a late engaged conversation tonight. I've got to get to. But before I go, I've got a few more minutes. If you could give any message to humanity at this point of time, to leave on an uplifting, the show on an uplifting, positive note, what would it be?
That you all can inspire other people in your family, in your group, in your community, and in our world by and through your own change. By and through your own change. So as you dive into Buddhism out of curiosity, and you learn to achieve peace, and if you in fact tasted that peace and sustain that peace, everyone else around you will see it and will be inspired by it and will gravitate towards it like a magnet. And that's how we change the world, one individual at a time.
Oh, I love that. I love that. See, I couldn't do better than that. I couldn't do better than that. Now, if anyone wishes to get hold of you, you're on TikTok. Where else are you?
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, TRI space DAO monk, Chi Dao monk, or Venerable Tri Dao. You can put that on Google and it will all come up. It's pretty easy to find me. I'm pretty worldwide out there. So
Yes, he's got his face out there. I've seen his face. I've
YouTube,
seen it.
YouTube.
And for those watching the show, the podcast, please like and share, get it out there. It's nice, you know, the guests I have on, especially on non-duality. And I will be back next week with another show. I don't divulge my guests beforehand anymore because I like the surprise, because you never know. It keeps you on your toes. And I've got to get you here somehow, haven't I? So I've got to have some sequencing. And I'm going to say your name wrong again, but Tri Dao.
Dao. Chi Dao.
The Dao. Now I can do it next time. I remember the Dao. The Dao.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Tri Dao. I remember the Dao. Thank you so much for coming on with your snotty nose. All right.
Thank you for having me, Gloria. Thank you for all that you do. And it is by and through podcasts and shows like this that gets the word out to the many. That is very much necessary. And, you know, hopefully people are inspired by today's talk. I thought today's talk was going to be the academic review of non-duality in Buddhism. And I was like,
I know. And I told you when you asked me, and I knew you had this what? And I said, no, I have organic conversations. I just talk being to being. I want to know about your experience from human to non-duality, experience of non-duality. That's what I'm interested in. And but most people, because there are some show hosts that really like to go in the particulars, and no, I don't give a flying fudge about that bit. It's you I want to talk to, you know, and educate myself more on Buddhism. Because, you know, as you said, I had a bit of a biased view. I thought you had to sit in monasteries for 40 years and not speak. And I'm not joking. They used to do that. And I found it so, wow, are you allowed to go out there and do what you do? This is wonderful. So, no, you got it wrong. So, apology accepted. It's an organic conversation. Listen, you keep doing what you're doing, and we will chat again in the future. Okay?
Yes, I'm readily available anytime you need me, and other subjects that you can think of, I will jump right on.
Don't worry, I will do. But can you do me a favor? Can you get rid of your snotty nose next time?
Yeah, sure.
You know, you come on the show with your snotty nose, you know what I mean? No, seriously, it's been wonderful. Okay? It's been wonderful. And thank you so much. Until the audiences, either live or replay, please like and share. Until the next time, it's bye from me. Bye-bye now.
Take care. Bye-bye.